In a sudden development, the ENPO has postponed its scheduled Central Executive meeting that was to be held in Tuinsang tomorrow, triggering speculations whether other stakeholders in the eastern districts in Nagaland have major reservations on the government's autonomy offer to the area. The postponement of the ENPO executive meeting comes at a time when the Government of India is giving the final touches to the draft tripartite agreement that is supposed to bring about a solution to the autonomy or separate state movement in eastern Nagaland. Sources said nothing much needs to be read into the postponement of ENPO executive meeting, as the decision to defer it was taken in view of the election code of conduct in place in the state, and that is witnessing a by-election next month. But what is true, according to sources, is that a section from among the 20 MLAs from the eastern districts have reservations on the shape of the agreement that is coming. Although the final draft is not ready yet, Nagaland government leaders, ENPO leadership and legislators from the area are aware of the broad provisions of the possible accord. In fact, a preliminary version of the draft was already circulated among the stakeholders that gave them an idea of the possible agreement. Some MLAs feel their positions could be compromised if a separate autonomous administrative structure is created in the area. It is also possible that after the agreement is reached, some leaders currently in the ENPO and its frontal wings might form a political party, contest elections and capture power, making the position of some MLAs untenable. Reports say a 39-member elective body is likely to come up to administer the area on the lines of Bodoland Territorial Council with modifications. On the whole, the stage is set for signing of the ENPO accord once all the key stakeholders are on the same page. All right, so big breaking news at this point in time, viewers, from Nagaland. In a sudden development, the ENPO has postponed its scheduled Central Executive meeting that was to be held in Tuinsang tomorrow, triggering speculations whether other stakeholders in the eastern districts in Nagaland have major reservations on the government's autonomy offer to the area. And the postponement of the ENPO executive meeting comes at a time when the Government of India is giving the final touch to the draft tripartite agreement that is supposed to bring about a solution to the autonomy or separate state movement in eastern Nagaland. Sources said nothing much needs to be read into the postponement of the ENPO executive meeting, as the decision to defer it was taken in view of the election code of conduct in place in the state that is witnessing a by-election next month. But what is true, according to sources, is that a section from among the 20 MLAs from the eastern districts have reservations on the shape of the agreement that is coming. Although the final draft is not ready yet, Nagaland government leaders, ENPO leadership and legislators from the area are aware of the broad provisions of the possible accord. In fact, a preliminary version of the draft was already circulated among the stakeholders that gave them an idea of the possible agreement. All right. Our editor-in-chief, Wasbir Hussain, joins us from the newsroom. Well, Wasbir, at a time when the draft agreement is set to out any time, are all stakeholders on the same page?
Yes, Pooja, first thing first, the central government is at this point in time giving final touches to the ENPO draft agreement. In fact, very early stages, a preliminary draft was already circulated. After that, there were several rounds of discussions where representatives of the government of Nagaland, ENPO and other stakeholders went and met the interlocutor as well as other officials of the Ministry of Home Affairs in New Delhi. Thereafter, at this point in time, what we know, what our sources are telling us, is that the government of India, the government of Nagaland, it's a tripartite agreement. The final touches are being given as far as the ENPO agreement is concerned, final touches to the draft agreement. After that, this draft agreement, after the final touches are given, that will be circulated among the key stakeholders, and when all the stakeholders are on the same page, the agreement is going to be signed. So that is the status. But in between, what has happened is that last night, in a sudden development, the ENPO cancelled its scheduled Central Executive Committee meeting that was to be held in the district town of 𝗘𝗡𝗥𝗧𝗃 tomorrow. Now, this cancellation of the ENPO Central Executive Committee meeting has triggered intense speculation as to the reasons for this sudden cancellation. Now, a lot of sources are saying that certain MLAs of representing the 6 districts where the 7 eastern tribes live, MLAs representing this area. Remember, Pooja, there are 20 assembly constituencies in these 6 eastern districts. So therefore, there are 20 MLAs. Now, what we are hearing is that some of these MLAs are not happy with the draft agreement or the contents of which they have come to know as of now. They have reservations. Now, sources are saying that they have reservations because the government is considering coming up with a 39-member elective politico-administrative structure to administer the 6 eastern districts that will be vested upon with maximum autonomy. So this, in view of this section of MLAs who have the reservations, they might feel that their position becomes untenable because their clout, their influence in these areas are going to be reduced. That is the thinking. And there is also reports doing the rounds that the key leaders of the ENPO and other stakeholders might form a political party, they might contest the elections, and they might take over power in this newly formed politico-administrative structure to administer these 6 eastern districts as and when it is formed. So this is also going to upset the apple cart as far as these MLAs representing the mainstream political parties are concerned. So there are worries. So, but sources are also telling us, a section of sources are also telling us that this cancellation of the ENPO Central Executive meeting at 𝗘𝗡𝗥𝗧𝗃 tomorrow has nothing to do, not much needs to be read into this. It was cancelled because the election code of conduct is in place in Nagaland that is witnessing a by-election next month. So that is the only reason why the meeting was postponed, or for that meeting, the Central Executive Committee meeting of the ENPO was cancelled. That's what sources are saying. But that has not kept away from the speculations that there is something more to it than just that they were cancelling it because the election code of conduct was in place. On the whole, this is a very crucial time as far as Nagaland is concerned. There are 2 big issues in Nagaland that has been dragging its feet for long. One, of course, is the Naga issue, Naga political problem that is as old as India's independence. That is one. That is also stuck because the NSC and IM is still firm on its demand for a separate flag and constitution. The interlocutors and the government of India is still trying to work out a middle path as to about satisfying the demands and aspirations of the NSC and IM. On the other hand, the second big issue in Nagaland is the ENPO issue, that is in eastern Nagaland in areas bordering Myanmar, where they had demanded an eastern Nagaland state. They just like to call it a frontier state, frontier Nagaland. But right now we understand that the compromise formula has already been agreed upon between the key stakeholders and the government, whereby a separate state is not coming their way, but it's only going to be a maximum autonomy with a lot of devolution of powers, including direct funding from the center. That's what we are hearing, but we'll have to wait and watch for the draft agreement to be circulated when our sources will better inform us as to what the likely content of the agreement will be.
So, Wasbir, it will be a tripartite agreement between the government of India, ENPO and the Nagaland government, even though the final touches are being given to the draft agreement. So, do you think the actual pact can be inked before Christmas?
I definitely think so, that the ENPO agreement will happen before Christmas, because a lot of grounds have been covered, lot of differences have been eased out. That's what we are getting, and that the ENPO per se has not much of a problem. They have agreed to most of the most of the things, but last minute negotiations are going on. But it is the other stakeholders like the MLAs, for example, the Eastern Nagaland Legislatures Union, if I am not mistaken, that is the name of the legislative body representing the 20 constituencies. As I said, there are 20 MLAs representing the 6 districts where 7 tribes live. So they have some reservations, as I said, about their own position, whether it will be dilute their powers, whether a new administrative structure which will be elective, that's likely to have 39 seats and a couple of nominated members, whether they are going to dilute. The talk about the formation of a new political party is also making them a little worried and concerned, whether they, because these MLAs represent mainstream political parties and some of them may be independents, but the formation or emergence of a new political party riding on the euphoria of a possible accord may well swing the votes in their favor, in which case, and if that happens, the representatives, the MLAs of the mainstream political parties will face a tough challenge when the elections come, and these are some of the worries, and that is perhaps delaying because the government of India has made it clear that unless all those major stakeholders are on the same pace, they are not going to go ahead with signing up the deal.
All right, thank you, Wasbir, for giving us all those details.